All right, welcome back. It's been a little bit. I don't know what's been longer, the wait to get to this damn game or the last time that you saw the three of us, Lofty, Raza, Shander. We're all here. Chris is producing. It's the Odd Shop. Welcome back. Thumbs up, subscribe. You know the drill. The ever-growing Odd Shopper community. We love you and being a part of it by all means. All right, we have a lot to talk about. We're not going to waste a ton of time here. Fellas, it's been a little bit since the three of us have convened by all means. And for 2 2/3 of us, because Raza more often than not is an Eagles fan, this is a pretty big game heart-wise for a lot of us here on the show. With all of that said, you never bet with your heart. You try and find the best value out there. We have a ton of shit from all over the place that you can bet on legally, wherever you are, where you can legally place a wager. So let's open up. How are we doing first and foremost?
Good, boys. Super Bowl 57. A little bird action. Birds, you got the Chiefs. I'm excited. The confidence, though, of the Philadelphia people is nauseating. It really is. It's not to say they won't win. You know, they're slight favorites. That's great. I'd love for them to win. But like I swear the same shit happened with the Phillies, right? We come in and everyone who hasn't watched baseball since the 2008 World Series is like, no, through Phillies got this. And the Astros aren't that good. It's like, okay, pal, let me know how much baseball. The Astros are fantastic, and they're a better team. You want to talk about destiny and all that stuff? Fine. I'm not being a pessimist here either.
I get it.
All I'm saying, because I think the Eagles can absolutely win this game. But everyone that goes, no, dude, Mahomes, he's okay. No, the guy's the best quarterback in the world. There's no better quarterback outside of the pocket than Patrick Mahomes either. Like, even with the ankle, you try and contain this guy, it's going to be difficult. You've got the league's best pass rush against the league's best player quarterback when it comes to evading pressure. That's what this game, I'm telling you right now, that's what this game will all boil down to.
I guess I'm the wild card on this show. I don't know what to say, because I'm excited for the game. I don't care if the Eagles win at all. I'd like them to win. I do kind of like the team, but that's the one thing I've always been envious of. I don't have a team. I never had a team.
It's a shame.
It's a damn shame.
Why you make so much money doing this?
Well, that's why I don't really have teams. I never had teams because it's but even from up here, the confidence, you're right, Lofty. There's just a lot of, and it's been reinforced, and that's going to be the fascinating part about this show. 2 straight games, the Eagles were not tested at all. Credit to them, but they also got some very fortunate breaks. So it's just this team is either a juggernaut or they're one of the most overrated, conference champions in a while. It feels like there's a pretty big range of outcomes with how good this Eagles team really is.
Yeah, but losing the game doesn't automatically mean they're overrated.
But they could get. I'm saying I think there's a chance that they get throttled.
I understand. You look at the list of the quarterbacks in which they faced. I mean, all the stuff that you've been hearing and going over maybe on your own out there, or just been hearing discussed now for 2 full weeks about who the Eagles have faced, the Chiefs and the stats and the data and all that. Let's just look at the game. Ben, let's start with you, since you are the least biased of the trio here.
Okay.
The game, side, total. We'll get into the craziness, long shots, plus money, all the other stuff. Just the game itself.
Yeah, so the game itself, obviously, we've seen, one of the things on this show, of course, is going to be, it's been a while, not just for us three getting together and doing the Odd Shop, but it's been a while since football has been played. Lines have moved. All these lines have moved. Player props have moved. So it's going to be talking about not just where lines were, but where lines are and is their value now. And the Eagles are one example of that. It's crossed through 0. I see 1.5, 1 point, slight favorite. The game is going to be, to me, like most people, played in the trenches. It's not the most glamorous thing. The Eagles just going to dominate up front? Are they going to run it down their throat? You've got a total just pushing 50. I think it's going to get out there and get moving a little bit. I am excited to see the game. I don't think either defense at times will have answers, but to me, like most Super Bowls, it feels like a pretty damn balanced game in all iterations from total to side. No real strong takes on either. I know you guys are both homers, of course, and biased, but when you saw this line, doesn't it? I think it's pretty much correct.
Sharp.
100%.
Yeah. The only thing I would say real quick, Lofty, and I don't know how much this correlates into win-loss, but Nick Sirianni said it. You can take whatever you want from this pregame stuff where you get 2 weeks of discussion, but both coaches have acknowledged that keeping the other quarterback off the field is probably more beneficial to them than not, right? It's 51. You don't have to buy up so much. You're at a key number, the highest of the key. The only thing that really jumped out at me, fellas, of those 6 total options would be just going under anything 51 or higher.
I'm with you. You said going under it?
Yes.
I agree.
Yes. Now, I know you and I have specific game plays and all, but just in response to kind of how Ben opened up, the one thing that really jumped out at me initially was, if that total is 51 or higher, I'm going under it.
But you know what number keeps jumping into my head? And like, forget about the total. Like, even if you had not told me what the total was, 27-24. Like that.
I thought you were going to say 31-17 because I bet that correct score.
Oh, no. 27-24 is what keeps rattling around in my brain. Okay. What does that get you to?
I'll take 51. A push, Lofty.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But it feel what's that, Ben?
No, I just want to jump in because
please.
You think, because you both seem to think the under. I have a feeling it is the Super Bowl. What if you just wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and see where this? Because, like, to me, I think the game could start out. I know if you want to bet the under, you're probably taking a position before the game. I look at it a little different. I think it's going to start slow and pick up. I'm looking to take a live over. I think I could see a 7-3 start, a 7-0 end of the first, and that drops, 47.5, 46, and then I hit the over. I think there's a couple different ways to play this.
I love that. Also, I don't know what the total is going to look like, but I know it's a key number. But what the public betting, how heavy is that going to come in close to game time, right? Like on Sunday and everything. Public's not betting the under on this game either. Like, do we see it move to 51.5 to 52, and then you take your shot on the under, or no?
I don't think it. Ben's shaking his head. No, I would be inclined to say that maybe 50. It has to move through this number. And to your point, it's going to take a lot of money and late money. We see that come in all the time here with the Super Bowl. I don't know how much. It's already moved a little. So I don't know how much more. 52. I'd be shocked if it hit 52.
So would I. Yeah, because it's still at 50.5 in some spots too.
Correct. 51 on DK. So there you have it.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't go over 50.5.
I would go Eagles money line here, but it's not like I would. Yeah. The truth is, I'd much rather. There's a lot of props out there I love. There's unlimited betting options. Yeah, we're going to talk about all of that, right? We're going to get to MVPs. You see it all on the sidebar, everything. We're going to get to all that. But man, it's such a tough game to handicap because, like, first of all, I think the Eagles advantages in the trenches, which it is an advantage. I do think it's overstated, though. It's not like the Chiefs have a bad offensive line. They don't. And it's not like they have a bad defensive line. They don't. They can generate a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So then you have Hurts and Mahomes, right?
Yep.
You get to who's healthier. Is Hurts fully healthy with his shoulder? I don't know. Reed said that Mahomes isn't fully healthy, but he's basically doing almost everything out of the playbook. And we saw him play and then it comes down to pass catchers. The better, more talented, healthier pass catchers are in Philly. That's the slightest of leans to Philly here for me. But if anything, I'd rather take props. You have to think that it's the Super Bowl, right? The line looks like this for a reason. I'm not sure you're going to find a whole lot of edge betting aside in this game.
Yep.
This is the type of game, though, at least to me, I think there's a lot of variance on both sides. Like, if you have a lean, go for an alt spread. Go for a halftime, full-time. Go for something where, of course, it could be a close competitive game. I wouldn't be shocked if the Eagles rolled them. I wouldn't be shocked if the Chiefs won by 20 points. Like, it's that type of game where if you're going to take a stand, why not try to get 2, 3, 4 to 1 rather than betting a minus 110 or an Eagles money line where you're laying a little juice. I'm looking to explore, like, okay, one of these teams has a true advantage and they exploit it. And that, I think, is the best way to go about betting a side.
How about this, Eitan?
I was going to say, I was ready to just.
Yeah, I know I primed you up.
Top rope before we even hit the draft.
Go ahead.
No, you were ready, Lofty. I don't want to jump in. Go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say, or just bet the quarterback of the team you think that's going to win and bet them to win MVP.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, I don't think people understand when you have a marquee matchup, and we're going to talk long shot MVPs because it can certainly happen, but I don't think people truly understand like how difficult it is for a quarterback, a marquee quarterback in a massive matchup to not win the MVP if they're just decent in a game like this.
Right.
And I know what Ben will say, like it's baked in. Of course, I get that. I do. Like it's baked into the odds, but in the same breath, it's such the minus 660 for a quarterback to win the MVP right now. That's where you minus 660 for a quarterback to win the MVP. If you were to just take like what position wins the MVP, you get both of them at plus money. Hurts at plus 130, Mahomes at plus 125. Of course, you know, Eagles being the slight favorite, we could get into that. I understand it. But think about what you got the whole, like there's two black quarterbacks for the first time. There's Hurts, who was never going to be accurate enough. The media said he couldn't get here. And now look at him. There's Mahomes playing on a high ankle sprain. It's a 4 to 6 week injury, right? Like they want to give it to one of these guys. When the Chiefs beat the 49ers back a few years ago, who should have won it? Damian Williams. I'll tell you right now, go back and watch that game. Mahomes won it because he's Patrick Mahomes. When the Bucks beat the Chiefs, who should have won it? Probably should have been Devin White. Who won it? Tom Brady, because he's Tom Brady. You could run through it as many times. If a non-quarterback, if a wide receiver wins the MVP, like we saw with Edelman in that 13-3 game, or we saw with Cooper Kupp in that 23-20 game, it's almost certainly going to be a low-scoring game, and they have to make a miraculous grab. I don't think this game's going to be that low-scoring. I think you could just take a quarterback to win the MVP in this one if you're feeling a little frisky.
No, it makes sense, man. I mean, it absolutely makes sense. It's what I did with, and I have him here for a different reason, but that's what I did with McCaffrey and Mixon, taking them to lead the playoffs in rushing as opposed to betting their team to make it to the Super Bowl, to win the conference, because you just had better odds and it was more likely that it would happen. In this case, you have significantly better odds that the quarterback's going to win the MVP. By the way, the league MVP as quarterback, I'm sure you've seen this, hasn't won the Super Bowl since Kurt Warner en route where he mowed down our Philadelphia Eagles in 99. It's been that long since a quarterback who has won the league MVP has won the Super Bowl as well. I'm just letting you know, Jalen Hurts getting snubbed may be the best thing to happen for the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, I have this guy behind me and anybody else who wears this uniform and helmet because they have done something just stupid. And if you're Patrick Mahomes, you've probably sent like a couple of texts and maybe even something worse, right? Like a stinking lit up bag of dog shit or whatever it is to these guys. What are you doing? I can tell you this. We're here in Philadelphia, right? Guys who are out there covering this team, talking. This has now become a thing where the 49ers have fired up. I don't think I've ever seen this. A team that just lost in a championship game has done more bulletin board material for the team going to the Super Bowl than the team they're facing in the Super Bowl. Like Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs, they've done nothing. And here come the 49ers, and they've fired up the Eagles. I think they come out. They've been a first half team all year, especially with a healthy Jalen Hurts. So I took the Eagles minus a half point plus 110 to win the first half. Here's where it gets crazy. Taking the Eagles to win the first half, this is not creating any type of lock or anything like that, right? Any middle or anything like that. I'm creating a tower. I understand that there's risk here. The Eagles may not win the first half. They may, of course, tie the first half. Those two options are here. But what I did was I took the Eagles first half minus a half point at plus 110, and I went halftime, full time. I went Philadelphia at reduced odds, and I went Philadelphia, Kansas City at significantly higher odds. The latter, I bet a half unit. The first two, I bet a full unit. If, in fact, Philadelphia wins the first half, I am guaranteed profit, and pretty significant profit, including and not limited to if the Chiefs win. So that's kind of what I went with Ben saying, you know, if you have a position, kind of go a little bigger here. That was my mentality. I have more control, I feel, with Philadelphia in the first half than I do in the game. So that was my mindset.
I dig it.
All right.
Ben, I want Ben's thoughts before we move on in this one.
I'm trying to take it all in. It takes a while to process a lot of what you said, because some of it I've never heard another human say.
You need to just jump in. You can't wait for me not to talk after he got. You just need to dive. Or
I was waiting for it to tie together. You know, it's like it's like
you have to let it marinate.
Like all the pieces, and then they do a twist at the end, and then you look back and you're like, wow,
like an M.
Night movie. Made sense. It was like that, except there was no no thing at the end. So I'm just a little confused, but I do like where you went with that. You just want to be careful. I think in general, when you play things like that, you open yourself up to like where you can get not middled, but there are routes there where you just get bageled, even though you're trying to cover multitude of bases. But like you said, if you build that foundation with a piece you're really confident, say the Eagles in the first half, then you start to have multiple permutations to kind of extend it. And that's something I know the same game parlays will be flowing for the Super Bowl. That's the kind of methodology you're going to need to use if you're building stuff like that.
All right, let's hit some player props up, but we've got this really cool offer for you, and now better than ever, right? You're right around the corner from the Super Bowl. You see what we're doing here with DraftKings. This is the easiest thing out. We've got a QR code next to my big ass head. We have a link below. All you need to be 21 or older, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And of course, you have to be in a state where you can legally place a wager. I'll give you the simple process, and we could just talk about how easy and smart this is to take advantage right now, because you're getting some really good odds if you look at it like you're betting 5 to win 200. It's going to take you 90 seconds to sign up, deposit 5 and only $5, and then place that 5 on any market. And that, fellas, basically is anything you want ahead of time, right? Like a solo play ahead of time. On our videos, we're telling you, I'll bet this NBA. It's more timely. In this case, you have anything in the Super Bowl. So if you wanted to, Ben, you could technically take something at like minus 150 or minus 200 and create that as far as the odds of 5 into 200, or you can just take a risk on something plus money and say, hey, the $5 doesn't matter. You're going to get that bet as soon as you place the wager, but it's nice to just have something that you can point to.
Yeah, I mean, we've already all said it at various points. There are so many bets that are intriguing on the Super. There are hundreds and hundreds of bets that aren't normally there. If you want to bet more of them, what's the easiest way? To have some extra funds that they give you to do just that. You know, you don't want to stretch your bankroll too thin on one game. Well, if someone's going to give me $200 and say, hey, have at it, that's $200 you can spend on bets that you would never normally make, some things that are Super Bowl centric. And that's the beauty of the timing of this.
And if you're not betting a long shot on this in the Super Bowl,
yeah, come on now.
I'm serious. Like, you're doing it entirely wrong.
Yep.
Like a long shot MVP. Let's say you have a 30 to 1 MVP, and there are actually some good ones out there, 30 or 40 to 1, believe it or not. You're turning $10 into 300, plus you're getting the $200 in free bets. Don't bet like a minus 110 line and turn your 5 into 9. Okay. Turn the 5 into something, because if you lose, it doesn't matter. Like, you lost, you're down $5 and now you've got $200 on the other end. Worst case scenario, right, you lose all 200 and you're still only down $5.
Right.
What if you hit the 30 to 1 MVP that I've got coming up later, right? Now you've got what, $505 on one bet?
It's not bad.
I'm telling you.
By the way, you're getting 200 right away, so you know that.
Yeah. But the game doesn't even need to start. You just lock it in. You got
that's the thing. Right.
And then use it on the game. Yeah.
Yep. That's why and that's the beauty of getting in now, because you're watching this show ahead of time anyway. So you might as well do what we're saying. You have to place that wager initially in order to get the $200 right back. And then, as Lofty mentioned, you can just use that 200 and sprinkle around, have fun, live bet in PG, the waste management as you're sprinkling in the NFL. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on here. All right. Let's keep it moving here. Player props.
Must be 21 years or older to gamble. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Go ahead, Eitan.
I did. You guys, you did it already?
I didn't even hear it.
This is the third time.
Did you hear it, Ben?
Accused. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. I'll say this. Seamless. I didn't mention that, but at least one of us did. And yeah, I don't know, Eitan. You slide it in so sneaky that no one even knows.
It's like the first thing I say, because I forgot it one time and I thought I was going to get slacked by our CEO. Like, dude, you're on thin ice here. So it's in my brain to never miss it again. I say it right away.
Well, now they got the number.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Say it as many times as you want. All right, let's hit some player props up. Lofty, why don't you start? You are fired up in this area here. I know you mentioned that this is your spot of choice. We're going to talk about a bunch of different areas of attack, but why don't you look at first at maybe some stuff that makes some sense, and even if you have a little longer shot prop.
Yeah, I got a couple. I mean, Miles Sanders on MGM, it's juiced to the under. It's minus 165, but under 1.5 receptions just seems like, you know, one of the best, one of the greatest bets you're going to find. Like, yes, you're paying for it, but minus 1.5 receptions seems crazy. Okay. That, just throwing that out there. Some other things, though, and I'm just going to run down the list. You guys watching, pencil them down when Ben and Eitan and myself figure out the ones you like the most. Chris Karen, producing right now, putting them up on the screen. Make it real simple for you guys. A.J. Brown over 71.5 receiving yards. They need him for a game like this. They didn't need him in week 18. They didn't need him in the divisional round. They didn't need him in the championship round. Over 71.5 yards at -120 on DraftKings, right? But if you want to, like, let's say you take that $5 promo and you don't want to do a crazy bet, but you want to do something that's kind of nice. I love longest reception on the day in the game. A.J. Brown at +225. He leads both of these teams on the entire season in deep attempts with 32. No one else is within 7 of that. It's MVS who is. But now that Kansas City's getting healthier at wide receiver, MVS not going to be used as frequently as he was last game. He had been a ghost leading up until last game when they lost Hardman, Tony, and Juju Smith-Schuster in rapid succession. So look at AJ Brown here. He's great after the catch. These are just spots that I absolutely want to hit. And I know Ben's on this one with me.
Yeah.
Isaiah Pacheco over 15.5 receiving yards at -120. Look, I'm not the guy that's saying he's commandeered this backfield and now nobody else, including McKinnon, is going to get involved. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, though, is I believe that with the way he's played, he will get enough opportunities. He will still run around 20 routes or so in this game, and he's great after the catch. So, yeah, the fastest player prop in this game, Isaiah Pacheco is favored against the field, believe it or not.
Wow.
So, over 15.5 receiving yards there as well.
I like that. No bounce back, no blowback. Sorry, Ben.
No, go ahead.
No, that was it. I was transitioning to you, where it's like I that's tail material right there, Lofty.
Yeah, I mean, so the way I do, particularly Super Bowl props, I like to do it where first I look at the players, then I try to match the right prop. Because to me, A.J. Brown, I'll just get this out there, I think you go over on any of his props, any of them. Receptions, yards,
okay,
touchdown. I don't care. A.J. Brown.
You love him this week.
I really do. I think that I said this, of course, against the Niners, and look what happened. Eagles have not had to deploy anything but a vanilla game plan. Maybe they run through the Chiefs too, but I doubt it. And on that vein, I'll go over 49.5 rushing yards for Jalen Hurts. Same concept. Why the hell would he be running around with a bad shoulder when you're up by 4 touchdowns, when the other team is out of quarterbacks? I got it on pretty good authority that the Chiefs are not going to run out of quarterbacks here. There's no reason to save him here. He's going to be running. The attempts were still there, but Jalen Hurts will be forced to be more aggressive on the ground here. And then I'm not going to get too hot takey. Of course, we still have a couple days.
Yep.
I'm not going to say Pacheco's taken over the backfield, but what does McKinnon or Clyde Edwards-Helaire do better than him? If Pacheco can catch the ball now, he's clearly the superior runner. His snap count is going up. I think there is a chance that he dominates touches there. And I'm going to call anytime TD is around +150 out there. I think he's going to get some looks. First of all, he's got breakaway speed if he gets in the open. I think he's going to get the carries. I think he's going to get the looks in the passing game if they're trailing. I like Pacheco, A.J. Brown, and Hurts all on overs for this game.
You and I are very much aligned here.
We are. We see this game the same way.
Because I love Hurts over 10.5 rushing attempts. He's averaging over that on the season per game and had 11 last week when he didn't need him. So, yeah, I think I want to know where Eitan's headed then.
Yeah, so I'm invested in a lot of stuff outside of just this, right? Like my field goal prop that we've talked about here live and some other stuff that's not even as crazy and as novelty-esque as it may be. And I know that a lot of these Super Bowl specials that you see at books across the board are looked at more often than not as traps, right? And I don't mean like, fill in the blank celebrities 6-leg created parlay. I mean stuff significant or specifically created for the Super Bowl. There was one though that jumped out at me on DK that I think makes a lot of sense. It's +250. And if you look at all of the guys involved here in the passing game on both teams, not just getting downfield, but also being able to open up and break and create their own spacing and get downfield on the ground. Any player to have a 55-yard reception in this game. We know that the quarterbacks are going to take shots. We know that the offensive coaches and coordinators, if you will, which can be the same guy in the Philadelphia Eagles, are going to take shots. I don't think there's any issue with Jalen Hurts throwing the football. You have, let's count them, right? A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Quez Watkins, Travis Kelce, MVS. You've got guys, you just mentioned Pacheco and the speed that he has. He can break one, get down. It's not hard, I think, for somebody to break with that speed a 55-yard screen pass as it is for Quez Watkins to catch one ball for 58 yards. So at plus 250, it's probably not the most plus EV thing out there, but I think it's a fun bet that can actually hit with multiple guys being up for it.
I dig it. I just hope it's A.J. Brown because I got him with the lowest reception on the day.
Here we go. Yep, I'm casting a wide net, my friend. It can be either of your guys or both.
I just want to say this real quick before we get even more egregious, because I sadly know what's coming up and how your mind works. If you're going to bet props like that, and it's a Super Bowl, everyone's going to do that. I'm going to do that. I cannot strongly stress enough. Go to OddsShopper.com and go to the compare tool. You have to maximize the line. These lines are not efficient at all. You're going to see plus 220, plus 280, plus 250 on the same prop. If you're going to do it, why not get the max payoff? So if there were ever a time to shop quickly and easily, this is the time to really utilize that tool. The compare tool is totally free still, not part of the premium. Just go and check that out.
And real quick to add to that, though, touchdown props right now in the Super Bowl are wildly different. Ben and I did a show earlier last week, wildly different across the board. Like if you're only using one book, you could literally be getting plus 200 on a touchdown anytime, and it's plus 450 elsewhere. That's nuts.
No, it's insane. Like the difference that you get, that's Ben's point there. They also changed these up. Be careful. You'll see 60+ yard reception on another book for a higher return at plus 300 and think, oh, it's the same bet and just be careful. Read, not just shop, but read what you're doing as well. Let's hit some long shots. I don't know how crazy this thing can get, but I don't think it's going to get as wild as people expect, at least with me. Ben has built this up to be some sort of mad scientist. That's coming up, I think, a little bit deeper. Let's just start, Ben, with you, though, what you would consider a long shot prop.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think, if you're making same game parlays and stuff, people are going to get crazy. But in a realistic chance, like a long shot prop that I think has a real time or a real chance, I'm going to go to the guy that I've talked about extensively already. If A.J. Brown is going to have this big game, if A.J. Brown's possibly catching 60-yard touchdowns, if A.J. Brown is doing all sorts of things, why can't he score first? 10-1. 10-1. And here's a perfect example. I'm looking right now. He's 10-1 on BetMGM. He's 7-1 at another book. He's 8-1 on another. Like there are lines all over the place. You can find 10-1 out there for A.J. Brown first touchdown. I think that's a fantastic opportunity. He's a big, strong receiver. The Eagles get the ball. They will give him chances in the red zone. Why not something like that to get the day started?
Love it. I think the Eagles' anytime touchdown spots are always interesting because it could go a million. You know this, A-Time could go a million different directions. Kenny Gainwell,
love that.
If you watched our shows or videos earlier, like last week or A-Time, I know you dropped some great ones in Discord. There's going to be lines that just moved. Like we can't get away from that. It doesn't mean like you're just not going to find them anywhere now. So if you're going to bet them, you're just going to have to kind of swallow that. Kenny Gainwell was plus 450 on DraftKings. He's plus 310 now, but on FanDuel, he's at plus 360. I still think that's nice on Kenny Gainwell because the involvement that we've seen from him, even pre-blowout in these first two games in the playoffs, even blowing the doors off the Giants and the San Francisco 49ers, Kenny Gainwell was involved. And if you like some over props in the passing game, I think you could still tie this into, hey, Kenny Gainwell might only see 3 or so targets, but he's pretty good after the catch. He's not a bad pass catcher, and he's involved enough on the ground. And we've seen Sirianni many times mix in a committee at the goal line and inside the 5, inside the 10.
Yep.
Gainwell at plus 360. It just looks like if this team, it continues to trend in the direction that Gainwell will be more involved. So if Miles Sanders is minus 105 to score and Gainwell is plus 360, I think the value is on Gainwell here.
I love that play. Absolutely. It's one of the favorite things that we've talked about so far, just because of, I agree. And again, I don't know the math to the T of it, but something seems off to the amount of time he should be on the field.
Yeah.
That number, especially compared to Sanders. Look, I'll just take it a step further here. Not crazy yet, Ben, but just a little bit. And there's always, right, there's always a guy, and it may not be every Super Bowl, but there's always a guy in most Super Bowls that you're like, who the fuck is that? Or it's like, oh my God, that guy, it's some random fullback. It's the third tight end. It's something to that extent. I think, again, if you're having fun here and you want to place like a half or a quarter unit on a longer shot anytime score, I'd look at two guys who I think realistically have a shot. And then we can work up. The first is Quez Watkins at plus 750. He is out there. And it may only be for a limited amount of time, but he is out there, and he can benefit from either a softer defense on Brown Smith if they do have to throw a little bit more, or being in the small amount of packages that they have for him, a primary guy that can just get downfield for one or two times, especially early, to kind of test that defense. So at plus 750, he's dropping now, as you see. So I think that's a look. And the other guy is Ronald Jones.
I
right?
can't wait for this one because I don't even know if he's going to be active.
Which would make it difficult for him to score. I'm interested to see how you thread that needle if he's in street clothes.
Well, here's the thing. I don't necessarily know if they changed the rule from 1896, which said that if you need like an emergency running back, you could pull a guy out of the crowd. Mm-hmm. I think there's a chance Ronald Jones plays. If he does, this may drop to plus 1,200. So I'm going to jump on it now. It's if he's out, it's voided. So what's the harm here?
Yeah, no, look, because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back.
Yes,
I get it, but I don't think that there's a race to put Clyde Edwards-Helaire into this game here. As much as we've seen, like even with Pacheco cooking, there's been a random carry or two to Ronald Jones, especially in the red zone, that has frustrated the hell out of a lot of people. I'm sure betting Pacheco any times.
If you win this bet, if you win this bet, I think I'm actually going to be mad. I'm not going to be happy. I think I'm going to be mad at you.
Yes.
I've never heard
that, by the way.
Normally when we're talking about a player prop, and it's like anytime touchdown, you say, and I think there's a chance he can score. You're saying there's a chance he could play. He could just be in the game. Never mind score. Like anytime active is the bet that you're looking for Ronald Jones, not touchdown.
What do you think the odds on anytime to suit up are?
I'd say pretty low.
Pretty low. What do you think they are? Anytime like plus 350 for him to be in uniform?
Probably a little higher, 400 maybe. I'd say there's a 4-to-1 payout that he's active. But look, guys get hurt. Somebody goes down. Somebody needs a breathe. I'm telling you, it's something like that where somebody scores and the first thing you do is look on Twitter or wherever the hell you go and look for the what was that guy? 25-1, like 50-1, right? It's just
it happens. It happens.
They're just normally active. That's really the catalyst.
And if he doesn't play, it's voided. All right. That's all I'm saying.
It's 17-1, huh?
All right, we got to keep this thing moving here. We should remind people now. We have to tell people about what's happening. This is really exciting because this is like a revamp, and it's a huge opening week that we're going to have coming up following the Super Bowl. Ben, you can speak to the specifics of what's going on with our OddsShopper Premium, but this thing it looks like a completely, like the visuals of it, the aesthetics of it are beautiful. It works better than ever. It's pulling from multiple books and getting you with the algorithm as far as beating the market. So the book that you're getting the option to bet is beating that book as well as the market. I mean, it's really you can look at all the different options that we have, just like before, right? As far as player props, sides, totals, you can compare. We do have stuff for Prize Picks. We do have stuff for No House Advantage, but this thing is insane. We all have seen this as far as the build and everything to this point. This is a massive improvement and really is going to light the market up around what we're doing here.
I couldn't be more excited. People, not us, people behind the scenes have worked incredibly hard to make this tool what it could be. And it took a lot of work, and now it's ready. And we're so excited to bring it. listen, this stuff is hard. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And that's what we did here. We took a tool that's going to do all that stuff behind the scenes and just give you the goods. And you can go there and you can sort and you can quickly and easily see, okay, this is where the market is inefficient. We all talked about, man, if there's a prop and one book is just so far off, wouldn't it be nice to have a place that just tells you that? You don't even have to sort. You don't have to play scavenger hunt. That's what this tool can do. You quickly, easily get those plus EV bets. You put them on your card and good things are going to happen. And we really believe in that. I've been using this tool. We're going to have content around this tool. If you're interested in this type of stuff, this is where you want to be.
Also, Chris, I don't know if he did yet, but flip that to list view because
Oh yeah, please.
The list view is the game changer.
This is
the game
so
changer.
sick.
Especially for phone. Go back, Chris, and go back and change that to list view. You'll see it on the right side where it's next to the grid view, down, right there, right there. Look at this. Hold on. That's the game changer.
Yeah. That's what I'm
it.
talking about. You come home from work. I don't have time to look at
No.
30 different things. Boom. Go to your list view. I have the top 10 bets by ROI on the night from people that I believe in, and I think you guys will believe in. The market does the work for you.
Yeah. It's awesome.
It's amazing. Trust me, you're going to hear all about this coming up. All our videos on the OddsShopper channel are going to be plastered with the new OddsShopper Premium. So stay tuned. Let's move to the MVP. We talked about the quarterbacks. Lofty with a really good angle as far as betting the quarterback to win as opposed to the team to win. But we've got some longer shots here. All right. So you already got the quarterbacks out of the way, Lofty. Where else are you looking?
Yeah. I mean, Hurts. And then I know you and I got in on this early. You actually threw it in on the Discord at like 50-1. But Hassan Reddick, look, again, the value on these is not going to be what it was earlier when the lines first dropped. It's just not on a lot of this stuff. Yep. But I still love Hassan Reddick here's how I see it, right? He's 30-1 right now, but still $10, you're putting a $5-10 bet on this at 30-1. You're still plus 3,000 odds. You're still looking at something nice here. Let's look at it this way. If the Eagles win this game, of course they need to win for Hassan Reddick to win it, to win MVP. If the Eagles win this game, how could it go? It's possible that Jalen Hurts just doesn't have a great game and he's kind of pedestrian. And if that's the case, it also means that we probably see more a committee approach in the backfield again, right? Which could be Sanders, Gainwell, maybe a touch of Boston Scott. Yep. But it definitely means that Patrick Mahomes didn't have the greatest game. Because if Patrick Mahomes has a great game and the Eagles win, it's probably going to be Jalen Hurts because he's going to need to do it through the air. So we need this to work the way it does. But that's the case with any time you're betting an MVP. If Hurts is okay, just okay, and the backfield is a committee again, it means probably no receivers are great. It means that Mahomes is under duress. Hassan Reddick was second in sacks this season with 16. Leads the league if you include the playoffs with 19. He has 3.5 in just 2 playoff games. Led the league in forced fumbles. Led the league in fumbles recovered. I think he recovered 2 of his own forced fumbles. If he has a big strip sack that pivotal point in the game, or a strip sack and goes the other way, or he's just in their face all damn game because he's an absolute dog, I think Reddick could be a great MVP pick, but the stars need to align for us here.
Makes a lot of sense about things aligning, but that's why you're taking risk at that number. So I get it.
You need everything to break right. We've seen this. You're probably going to need him to score. I've said that. I don't really have anyone. I'll just say this. When you're talking about quarterbacks that overshadow, I think it's really hard for the wide receivers. Miles Sanders is the type of guy. He could have a huge day, and it wouldn't mean Jalen Hurts also has a big day. If A.J. Brown has 4 touchdowns, that means Jalen Hurts has 4 touchdowns. Miles Sanders, in theory, could break off 2 80-yard runs, and Jalen Hurts is sitting there with 0 from that. I think that's a path for him. I say it's very doubtful. He's north of 20-1, though, if you want to be a little different.
I get it. And I think I'm going to go with Lofty's mentality here, where a guy like Chris Jones has dipped just a little bit, not to the extent of Reddick, but he's the KC version, the closest one you can find of what Reddick can do, which is just wreck a football game, right? So, Lofty, you laid it all out for Reddick. It's the same exact mentality, reasoning I would apply to Jones. The only other guy that I think could shake something up, 85-1, big play Slay. If you got somebody who just benefited from the heavy amount of pressure on Patrick Mahomes, multiple sacks, and it's not one guy wrecking the game, but it's 2 to 3 guys up front of the Eagles causing a problem. Two interceptions, a touchdown, maybe a tackle for loss or something along those lines, or a couple, like just owning the game from the cornerback spot. I don't know. Jalen Hurts would have to have a suspect game. Things would have to work in your favor, but just something I looked at as far as like, all right, it's not totally out there. It's just quasi out there.
I love that. Makes you think, hey, could it be Chauncey Gardner-Johnson with how he was a ball hawk all year long?
Oh,
too,
yeah. I mean, there's better value there, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. It hasn't gotten as crazy as people anticipated.
Thank God.
Well, hold on a second. We're not out of here yet.
Oh, I thought it was over. Never mind.
Gardner-Johnson's 20-1, by the way.
20
or 200-1. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
worst
200
bet of all
to 1.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Don't bet him at 20-1.
No.
All right.
Hey, these long shot MVPs are fun.
Yeah.
All right. This is titled Novelty. Lofty put it as novelty/stupid props. I think it was labeled novelty for you and Ben, stupid for me.
No.
Right. But I kind of just want, like, the beauty of this segment is twofold, right? It's Ben just suffering through something ridiculous like this and finding something he could bring up, but also his reaction to the shit Luffy you and I are going to bring up on different tiers, of course, of insanity. So why don't you start, Ben, and then you can just entertain yourself with all this shit.
Then I can just leave. That's perfect. So mine's actually a normal prop that I really do like.
Of course it is.
A successful 2-point conversion is over 2-1, plus 230 out there. These coaches, innovative. I wouldn't be stunned. Obviously, if you need to go for 2, that's going to give you an opportunity. Is it crazy to think, say, the Chiefs score first and they just go for 2? They just go for 2. I think that's very, very in the range of outcomes. So if you get 2 or 3 chances in the game for a 2-point conversion, you're obviously getting value. Hell, I would get value if there's even 1 2-point conversion attempt. I know they got to make it. I like that at plus 230.
I actually love it. Sirianni loves going for 2.
That's what I'm saying. These coaches are not afraid to mix it up.
Yep.
They like going for 2 even when there's no reason to go for 2 outside of we think we can make it.
Correct. And that's the value.
I was just shooting the shit here with this one, but jersey number of first touchdown score under 11. And I've crushed this the last 4 years. Okay. Listen, there's Travis Kelce, right?
Yeah.
There's Miles Sanders that are over and then Goddard, but Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, who we know is no stranger to finding his way into the end zone. And then pretty much like every other pass catcher for the Kansas City Chiefs, Jerick McKinnon, Isaiah Pacheco, number 1 and number 10.
What about Gainwell?
Gainwell's 14.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. He's over.
He might hit your anytime and bust there.
Oh, that'd be brutal. Yeah, I'm not betting all these on the same card, but this is fun. Wouldn't that be hilarious? But it wouldn't matter though, because Gainwell's plus 360.
Exactly.
So you're not like it wouldn't
parlay
them.
No,
that would be frowned upon.
What's that?
I said I wouldn't parlay that though. That would be a tough.
Yeah, that would be tough.
No, go ahead, Lofty. Sorry.
But all I'm saying is there are a lot of players out there that don't have a number above 11.
Smart, man.
And of course, like your big guys, Kelce. I'm not too worried about Sanders here. I think Hurts is more of a threat. He's number 1. I like the under 11.5, boys. That's where I'm going here. I think there are too many guys and too many players that Mahomes can throw to and is willing to throw to that are under number 11, that are under that number 87.
Yeah.
That we can get there. Let's have some fun. Now let's really have some fun with it.
It's crazy, but it's worth it. It makes sense. You do a really good job of explaining the reasoning behind it. Let me just throw this bet out there, and it's completely only if you're betting Ben's bet. Like if you're not betting a successful 2-point conversion, I wouldn't play this solo. I would say play whatever half unit, whatever Ben says on the 230, and then cut that in half and play an octopus, which is the same guy who scores a 2-point conversion. Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts, Travis Kelce, right? Like anybody who catches a football in the air or even runs the football. And then you add the extra variable, which is a quarterback. And Jalen Hurts easily, they have plays designed for him on a 2-point conversion to run into the end zone. So only if you're playing Ben's bet, I would throw that out there at plus 1,400. The one I actually like, and I don't know how they quantify this outside of maybe dialing up how many challenges were throughout the year, but I can tell you this. Luffy, you know, we've seen this guy up close in 14 years here in Philadelphia. Andy Reid is not going to be the first one to be belligerent. Nick Sirianni is going to do something crazy first. And if I have an option to get plus money at plus 110 for Nick Sirianni to be the first coach to throw the challenge, no bet, right? Absolutely. It's not win the challenge. It's just the first coach to challenge. I think if you get him at plus 110, knowing and how predictable he is, that's mine. That outside
should just be even money. They should be coin toss, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know how they quantify that edge, something like that, Ben, but Nick Sirianni's behavior would say that he would challenge first.
Yeah, I mean, if the refs screw up the call for your team, is just as likely as they screw it up for the other team.
Right. I wouldn't even be worried about the behavior. I'd be looking at this game going, they got guys up in the booth. If it's a challengeable play, they'll challenge it.
Correct.
I don't see why it's not even money on both sides.
It should be minus 110 on both sides.
Sorry, that's what I mean. Yeah, minus.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah. All right, let me hit you with this on the way
real quick. How many people do you think when they see will there be an octopus are betting yes because like, why not? And they're thinking like they're watching for someone to throw an octopus on the Red Wings game or something.
Exactly right. It's the same guy.
There might be a better chance of that than whatever this thing is.
Have to check the standings.
All right, Eitan, close us out.
All right, we don't have a crazy stat like we normally do here on the Odd Shop, so I'll hit you with the craziest bet that you can place out here. It's 200 to 1, as you see, both Jason and Travis Kelce to score a touchdown. Now, you'll see bets out there, any offensive lineman to score a receiving touchdown. I don't want that because Jason Kelce can rush. Jason Kelce can do a lot of things outside it. Well, really just rush or receive. And I don't trust it's anything just one. Nick Sirianni is going to send Jason Kelce out with a parting gift. This is his last game. He's not going to run the Philly special because he has too much respect for Nick Foles and Doug Peterson, what they did. Instead, he's going to run his own brand, his own brash version of some crazy play, which is also going to give Jason Kelce the best parting gift since Ben Ross's failed attempt on Jeopardy, where he got the take-home version. All right, this is going to be amazing. Both Travis and Jason Kelce to score.
That would be a wonderful thing to see.
All right.
You did it. No, there's nothing to respond there. Don't bet that.
You really don't think that Jason Kelce has a chance to score in this football?
I'd say it's pretty doubtful considering he doesn't play a position that scores. But yeah,
the Eagles have 3 guys, Ben, that snapped at a collegiate level. 3 guys on this line.
The perfect way to end this show, of course, is just A, thanking everyone for the support. But B, I'll say this. Jason Kelce has a better chance to score than Ronald Jones. And I leave you with that.
Well, I bet both.
There you go. You got it covered.
All right. At Lofty_D, at JazzRest DFS, at Shander Show. Say hi to us on Twitter. Thanks to Chris for producing. Come check us out on the Discord. We'll be active throughout and through the Super Bowl. And I think I can speak for all of us except for Chris, especially after my Julius Randle slander. Go Birds!